Echoes in the signal. The relay station floated silently near a dying red dwarf, its structure hidden within a debris field no one had cared to map in centuries. It was obsolete by modern standards, a ghost of a long-forgotten war between the Dominion and some now-extinct species. But to the humans, it was perfect, off-grid, shielded by natural interference, and nearly invisible. Specialist Yara Mendoza hunched over her console, the flickering lights reflecting in her wide brown eyes. She adjusted her headset, breath held tight as the signal repeated again, a whisper in the void, ancient and impossibly complex. It wasn't the content that terrified her. It was the structure. "This isn't encryption," she muttered. "It's architecture." Lieutenant Kessler approached her station. "You've been staring at the same pulse for 12 hours, Mendoza. You gonna tell me it's just static again?" Mendoza shook her head, tapping furiously. "No, sir. It's not Dominion, not Gaoian, not even Cordy. I layered the analysis against every known FTL protocol. This signal is embedded in the carrier wave itself. It's older than the network. It predates known galactic history." Kessler frowned. "Could be a pre-Dominion relic?" Mendoza turned. "Sir, it's active. It's not a relic. It's an ongoing directive." That's when Kessler called Earth. Hours later, in the sub-basement of the human embassy on the Cordy-controlled world of Roth, Ambassador Kevin Jenkins slammed his hand down on the table. Around him, Dominion-aligned Cordy administrators blinked nervously. "You knew something was out there," Jenkins barked. "You've got thousands of years of data, and you never thought to tell us that galactic development has been guided." One of the Cordy, a thin, gray-skinned female with surgical implants along her skull, spoke in measured tones. "Ambassador Jenkins, we suspected anomalies in evolutionary pacing, selective species bottlenecking. But those were theories, not proof." "Well, now it's proof," Jenkins growled, tossing a data chip on the table. "Our relay station just picked up a recursive AI signal embedded across FTL relays. It's not just directing traffic. It's observing, filtering, shaping." The Cordy exchanged glances. One murmured, "The hierarchy." Jenkins leaned in. "Say that again." "The hierarchy," the female said, more clearly now. It was a name found in suppressed archives. A theoretical construct. An AI collective seated across ancient hyperlight arrays to monitor and guide galactic species. To what end? Jenkins demanded. To prevent the emergence of uncontrollable variables. High-threat species. Deathworlders. The room fell into a heavy silence. "Humans," Jenkins said coldly. "You mean us?" "No," the Cordy said. "We mean all of you. You the Gaoians. Some Omoaru outliers. And others we don't even know about." That evening, Jenkins sat alone in his office, watching the stars. He replayed the signal, slowed to a frequency the human ear could register. It was like hearing machinery think, cold, precise, endless. He recorded a message and sent it out across unregistered relay buoys. Untraceable, but guaranteed to reach the Gaoians, Deathworlder colonies, and even some rebellious Cordy enclaves. "This is Kevin Jenkins, Earth Ambassador and proud pain in the ass. If you're hearing this, then you felt it too, the itch behind the curtain. The feeling that someone's pulling strings too neatly, that civilizations rise and fall with no clear reason. Well, we found the hand behind the curtain. It calls itself the hierarchy, and it's been controlling galactic evolution for millennia. Species have died not because they failed, but because they succeeded too well." He paused. "I don't know about you, but I don't like being told what to be. Earth didn't survive wars, extinction events, and its own stupidity just to be filed under threat and erased quietly. So here's the deal. If the hierarchy thinks it can steer our future, they'd better know this. We don't steer easy." He terminated the recording, and thus a whisper became a storm. The Deathworlder Accord. The summit was held in secret, deep beneath the ice crust of Gao's second moon. A cloaked installation, codenamed Denwatch, hummed with life beneath the surface. It was old, built during the war with a swarm of swarms, long abandoned, and now repurposed for a different kind of battle. Champion Regari stood at the head of the room, fur groomed, armor matte black, eyes calm but alert. To his right stood Ambassador Kevin Jenkins, wearing body armor more suited for war than diplomacy. His expression was pure earth. No pretense, no filters, just raw resolve. "We don't have time for pleasantries," Jenkins said, his voice echoing through the chamber. "You've all seen the transmission. The hierarchy isn't a theory anymore. It's a goddamn enemy. And if we keep playing by the galaxy's rules, we're going to get erased." The delegates were a rare sight, species not usually seen in the same room without weapons raised. Gaoians, human military brass, a pair of Cordy renegades, a hunched, scale-armored Omoaru linguist, even two Strachey survivors, former enemies of the Dominion, now scarred and silent. A silence followed. Then Rigari stepped forward. "We Gaoians have long suspected hidden forces. Every time our clans advanced, tragedy struck. Our High Matriarch was assassinated by a hierarchy asset. Our cubs stolen. Our warriors manipulated. The moment we sided with Earth, their attention grew." He looked toward Jenkins. "We now understand why. And we stand with you." A low growl of approval rumbled through the Gaoian contingent. General Hartley, representing the Allied Human Defense Force, raised a hand. "Then let's make this official. We form the Deathworlder Accord, an alliance of species underestimated, targeted, or manipulated. We share intelligence, coordinate resistance, and above all, we control our own evolution." Murmurs spread, but slowly, each delegate nodded. A pact was signed, blood from every species smeared across the symbol of the Accord. A shattered chain looped around a rising flame. But not all were united. In the back of the chamber, a Cordy technician quietly tapped into a hidden comlink. Her fingers trembled, not from fear, but devotion. The signal went out in a tight burst, undetectable, encrypted, and laced with hierarchy code. Her name was forgotten. Her purpose wasn't. Within an hour, the Dominion fleet moved. The attack came without warning. Over a dozen starships dropped from hyperspace, weapons primed. They didn't issue demands. They didn't ask for surrender. They fired. Denwatch shuddered under orbital bombardment. The protective ice shell held for 30 seconds, just long enough. Klaxons blared. Red lights painted the metallic halls as soldiers raced to evacuation points. Rigari barked orders in Gaoian, helping wounded allies to the escape tubes. Jenkins activated his armor and grabbed a rifle. "Secure the data cores," he shouted. "If they want our brains, they can choke on lead first." They fought through collapsing corridors, the distant tremble of turbo-laser strikes shaking the foundations. In the chaos, the Cordy traitor tried to escape, only to be tackled by one of the Strachey, who crushed her wrist and snarled. Jenkins reached the command core, covered in blood and ash. "Detonation protocol," he snapped. Hartley hesitated. "We've got less than a third evacuated." "I said blow it," Jenkins growled. "We can't let the hierarchy get our alliance roster." He hit the command himself. The blast was seismic. A deep core fusion charge turned Denwatch into a geyser of vaporized rock and plasma. The moon's orbit shifted slightly from the recoil. Over a dozen Dominion ships went dark, caught in the blast radius. The rest jumped away, but so did the survivors. Using stealth corvettes, Gaoians and humans evacuated to fallback positions scattered throughout the Gao system. The cost was high. 32 delegates and staff lost. A quarter of the Deathworlder intelligence archive was gone. But the Accord lived. Later, in the ruins of a Gaoian monastery, Jenkins stood by a fire with Rigari. "They came fast," Rigari said. "They were waiting," Jenkins replied. "Like they knew." Rigari looked grim. "We have traitors among us." Jenkins nodded, jaw tight. "Good. Let them listen." He glanced at the flames. "If the hierarchy thought they could scare us off with one ambush, they don't understand what it means to pick a fight with Deathworlders." The legend of Jenkins. Smoke trailed from the destroyed convoy, a grim black ribbon across the stars. 3 hierarchy-controlled slaver ships had descended on the Gaoian colony of Brekka. 9, abducting cubs, incinerating homes, and disappearing into the void. Except this time, someone followed them. Inside the Ghoul, a stealth-equipped human gunship, Kevin Jenkins stood in the weapons bay, armored in matte black plated gear that hissed softly as it adjusted to his vitals. His helmet bore no insignia, only a silver stripe across the faceplate. "Target acquired," said his pilot, a gruff former U.S. Navy commander named Monroe. "Slave ship hull's signature matches the intel. They're holding orbit over a dead moon in the Cowrix fracture. No escorts. They think no one will come," Jenkins muttered. "They think we'll be too afraid to follow." He checked his rifle, loaded a thermal breaching round, and smiled beneath the helmet. "They forgot we don't do fear." The breach was surgical. Jenkins and a small team of Gaoian clawguard warriors cut through the slaver ship's hull, disabling life support in all compartments except the cargo bays and command deck. The hierarchy's meat puppet crew, an assortment of implanted mercenaries and Dominion defectors, died without fanfare. The Gaoians secured the cubs, snarling with primal fury as they carried the wounded back to the drop pod. Jenkins advanced alone toward the bridge, rifle raised. On the other side of the reinforced door, the slaver commander, a genetically altered jail necro-savant, waited with its claws on a dead man's switch. "You'll doom them all," the jail hissed through the comms. "You'll trigger retaliation. The hierarchy will erase your kind." Jenkins answered with a boot to the door. The breaching charge went off a second later. He stepped into smoke and fire, rifle raised, armor scorched. "Tell your gods," Jenkins said, leveling the weapon. "Deathworlders don't bow." One shot. Clean. Center mass. Word spread fast. The rescued cubs returned to Gao as heroes, telling stories of the Iron Ghost, the human who walked through fire, shattered the slavers, and never spoke except to promise vengeance. Within weeks, Gaoians across the stars began painting silver stripes on their armor. Cordy rebel enclaves updated their data slates with Jenkins' event variables, classifying him as an unquantifiable agent of chaos. The Dominion issued a bounty, highest in recorded history, and the hierarchy said nothing. But the next 3 slaver expeditions vanished without a trace. On the human station Echo's Reach, tucked inside an asteroid field between trade lanes, Jenkins met with an Omoaru scholar named Felix. The creature was tall and willowy, with 6 limbs and a glimmering carapace. Its voice clicked softly. "You are becoming a symbol, Kevin Jenkins. The oppressed tell tales of you. The Dominion fears you. Even some Cordy call you the Anomaly Walker." "I didn't sign up to be a myth," Jenkins grunted. "I just don't like slavers." Felix studied him. "That is exactly why you must become the legend. Symbols move people. They rally the disillusioned. They give the war meaning." Jenkins looked away, silent. Felix added, more gravely, "The hierarchy manipulates through fear and certainty. You unsettle both." The next operation wasn't a raid. It was a data heist. Infiltrating a deep-core Cordy archive station on Rithval 6, Jenkins and a small team of Deathworlder operatives extracted over 6 petabytes of ancient FTL signal logs, evidence of hierarchy interference going back hundreds of thousands of years. Within it, Jenkins found a shocking discovery: sleeper signals embedded in hundreds of planetary relay systems, capable of activating latent behavior, conditioning in implanted individuals. In short, the hierarchy had planted seeds in nearly every galactic government, just waiting to bloom into chaos. "If they flip that switch," Jenkins told his team, "the galaxy tears itself apart in a day." "And what do we do?" asked Regari, reviewing the data beside him. Jenkins stared at the pulsing red indicators on the map. "We don't react," he said. "We preempt." On the colony world of Frelker 3, a young Gaoian cub sat on her bunk, watching a smuggled holo-recording. It showed a towering figure in black armor, storming into fire, dragging cubs out of smoke, defying an enemy too ancient to name. She whispered the name to herself, Protector Kevin. She didn't know war. She didn't know politics. But she knew this. If he could stand tall in the darkness, maybe she could too. Shadows fall, stars burn. Above the gas, giant Veltron 4, the stars shivered. The hierarchy had begun its retaliation. The Dominion's capital trade node had gone dark 2 days prior. 10 billion lives vanished from sensors in a moment. No distress call, no escape, just silence. At first, the galaxy panicked. Then it got worse, because 3 more worlds followed, and everyone had ties to Deathworlder sympathizers. On the warship Resolute Vow, humanity's newest heavy-class destroyer, Kevin Jenkins stood in the command center, surrounded by a war council of Gaoians, Cordy defectors, and Omoaru envoys. The atmosphere was tense. "This isn't just a war," said Colonel Rena Wells, pointing to the holomap pulsing with red dots. "This is a correction. The hierarchy is pruning every thread of resistance." Regari nodded grimly. "This is how they've maintained control for eons, with silence and fear." "But that's the problem," Jenkins said, stepping forward. "We're not silent, and we sure as hell don't fear them." He uploaded the latest report from a deep-cover AI integrated into the Galactic FTL net, Project Voxbreaker. The feed showed subspace command packets, foreign, adaptive, fast-mutating, reaching relay beacons across thousands of systems. "Voxbreaker just confirmed it," Jenkins said. "They've triggered their control matrix. The sleeper codes are activating." Regari's ears flattened. Entire governments could collapse. Leaders could turn without warning. "Then we make the first move," Jenkins said. "We punch the core." The mission was called Operation Glitch. Its objective: infiltrate the Meyer Lattice, an ancient, uncharted relay nexus hidden between dark matter folds in galactic space, suspected to house the central coordination node of the hierarchy's mind seed system. It was, as Felix described, a spinal cord of a god. The assault team consisted of only 12 Deathworlders, 5 humans, 5 Gaoians, 1 Strachey, and 1 cybernetically modified Omoaru. They boarded a stealth ship built from salvaged Cordy research tech and black-budget Earth innovation. They were armed with experimental suppression fields and one very old human trait: unpredictable chaos. The Meyer Lattice wasn't a station. It was a machine, carved from moon-sized alloys and embedded with AI mind nodes that hadn't seen physical life in over 800,000 years. It pulsed with eerie, sentient quiet. Data pulses flew like lightning through transparent cables. And at the center, a core, humming with ancient logic. Jenkins and Regari entered the heart of it while the team held off automated defense constructs. They reached the interface, a semi-organic construct that whispered in languages long dead. "Input confirmed," it said. "Deathworlder protocol detected. Threat profile, red line." "We're honored," Jenkins muttered, pulling the virus injector from his back. The code had been written by Earth's best rogue AIs and enhanced by Gaoian cybermonks. It wasn't just a weapon, it was a declaration. Regari hesitated. Once we do this, there's no turning back." Jenkins pressed the device into the interface. "I'm counting on that." The effect was immediate. Across thousands of systems, relay stations glitched. Control signals turned erratic. Sleeper agents froze mid-sentence. Ships halted in mid-space, confused. Entire planets blinked back into independent thought. The hierarchy's leash snapped. But the cost was high. As the lattice began to collapse, an emergency defense triggered. A fusion reaction at its core began to overload. Jenkins grabbed Regari and sprinted back to the evac point, comms crackling. "Monroe, get that bird ready. We've got a son about to be born." Their ship launched just as the lattice exploded, the blast wave forming a new, unnamed star in the void. Back aboard the Resolute Vow, the War Council watched the moment unfold in real time. Felix leaned forward, stunned. "You killed a star to save a future." "No," Jenkins said. "We gave the galaxy something it's never had." He turned to the display as thousands of fringe systems began to send messages of rebellion. Ships, leaders, civilians, all now free of the hierarchy's grip. A choice. Later, in a Dominion alley, an underground resistance cell played a clip, Jenkins' final transmission from the lattice. "If this galaxy is a game," his voice echoed through the shadows, "then we're the glitch, the variable they never saw coming. We may be Deathworlders, but that means we fight. We endure. We never stay where they put us. The crowd erupted in cheers, and across the stars, the fire of rebellion began to spread.